The idea that a nation, which, as you say, we're at the height at this point of being proud of where you come from, how you rule your little fiefdom, and so forth. We're at the height of national pride. And it is one of the central ways that you kind of instill that national pride and celebrate your essential national character is with a kind of national music.
Yes, that's absolutely right. And nationalism, like anything, it can be used for bad purposes, and that's what the 20th century was about, right?
Right.
But and nationalism and patriotic music can also be pathetically bad. And this country's proof of that. Like some of our music here is just awful with, like I love Lee Greenwood and that sort of thing, but there are so many artists that try to copy Lee Greenwood's music, and it's just awful.
So this, to me, is fascinating because you've got, obviously, as we have discussed in previous episodes of this show, you're about to have, right after the Belle Epoque, you are about to have the great cataclysm of nationalism, the great excess of nationalism, which is kind of all these authoritarian, totalitarian states. And in my opinion, the left in this country has used our trauma from that to make us ashamed of being proud of our nations, right? The idea that there can be an excess of nationalism has been used to make us feel like all patriotism, all American nationalism, or nationalism of any kind is bad, right? It becomes this bad word. But of course, that's ridiculous. If you're going to have a country, you need to have pride in its national character, and there's nothing wrong with having pride in your native land. This is my native land, as the poet says. And I think, this period is kind of instructive for us because, as you are saying, you've got some of the great nationalist artists in this time, right?
That's right. Yeah. And by quantity, too. I mean, there was more so, I mentioned beforehand, Bach, Beethoven, Mozart. I mean, that's three over a period of almost 120 years or whatever. Mm-hmm. You get to this part of history, musical history, and you're talking about dozens and dozens. Mm-hmm. So it's exponentially larger just in terms of the quantity of output. It's important to note that as part of the artistic creative process, and I know this as a composer myself, is that you have to have things to write for. So a lot of people will do religious works. They will do, human condition, write about love or relationships or whatever it is.
Right.
But also, you can write about pride in your people or your country and that sort of thing. Brahms, for example, had his Requiem was for Germany, Germany itself, because they had pride in where they came from, who they were, and their traditions and that sort of thing. And those are not pieces that are meant to besmirch other folks. Not that composers aren't competitive with each other, which is definitely, or countries were definitely competitive with each other.
Right.
But it was to extol the virtues and just say hey, we're proud of what we're making, who we are, our industriousness or whatever qualities it was that they were trying to brag about. But this, whenever you have an objective like that, I'm going to write a religious work that's going to glorify God, let's say. You're going to have different music that makes it from your brain to the paper that then gets performed by people. It's going to be different than if you're writing about your TV.